Going to look at the MCQ practices of non-financial performance indicators for our e-practice. So let's begin. The first question is: a local authority has introduced an initiative which is intended to achieve greater output for each unit of input. So when we're talking about the relationship between input and output, so whatever we put in and how much we're able to bring out, this basically is talking about efficiency. All right. So this has nothing to do with quality improvement, effectiveness. This has more to do with achieving the goals set by the organization, and economy basically deals with the cost of inputs. So the relationship between input and output and how efficiently we are using it, that is what has been described here. So the correct answer should be efficiency. The Fitzgerald and Moore building block model provides six dimensions under which performance in service industries can be measured. Which of the following is not one of these six dimensions? So this basically has to do with the very basic. Resource allocation is one of those dimensions. Quality of service. Quality of service is also actually part of the six dimensions. Staff satisfaction. Staff satisfaction is not part of the six dimensions. Flexibility is. So this obviously is a very easy question, and the answer is staff satisfaction. It is not one of the dimensions of the building block model. Question 3: which of the following is not a typical characteristic of a service? So each service provided has unique physical features. So the first option very simply seems to be wrong, because one of the basic features of services is that it is intangible. So because it is intangible, it does not have physical features. So till now, this is the right answer. This is not a feature of services. Each services is provided when the customer wants it. Of course, this is the definition of simultaneity. Each service is consumed when it is produced. That is also a feature of service. Each service only exists when it is experienced by the customer. Of course, this is once again simultaneity. So the very basic aspect of services is that it does not have a physical feature. So this is not the correct answer is going to be A. Next up, the following are examples of pressures that a hospital might face. So there are four examples given. Which of the above are external pressures? So what do we understand by external? External means beyond the control of the hospital. Okay. So fewer doctors qualifying. So how many doctors basically qualify to be doctors is beyond the control of a hospital, because the hospital cannot control who qualifies for a doctor. Increased medicine prices. Prices generally are also once again, medicine prices is beyond the control of a hospital. So this is another one. So one and two is definitely there. So option A is out. Option B is out. Option D is already out. We can already see that option C should be correct. But let's look at option 3: strict government targets in relation to waiting list. So when government sets you targets, it's beyond the control of a hospital. Number 4: shortage of beds for seriously ill patients. Now, how many beds I have available within my hospital can be controlled by the hospital. So this definitely is internal. So the correct answer is C, which is options 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Next up, which of the following is an advantage of a balanced scorecard? Okay. So it provides a clear ranking of performance measure. A balanced scorecard does not provide ranking. It basically, what balanced scorecard does is it helps you measure performance on four aspects. Encourages managers to focus on financial aspects. This is definitely not the correct answer, because one of the reasons why we do balanced scorecard is that we solely do not focus on financial and we focus on other things as well. It encourages managers to take a short term view of performance. No, one of the advantages of balanced scorecard is it encourages a long-term view. So the first three are it considers internal and external issues. That is of the four options given here. This can be an advantage because certain aspects of the balance scorecard is internal and some of the aspects are external. So the correct answer over here is D. Question 6. What do the following statements apply to? The relationship between utilization of resources and the output produced by resources. So this already gives you the idea that they're talking about efficiency, getting more output from each unit of input. So this basically, once again, of the four options, this does not talk about economy. It definitely talks about efficiency. It does not talk about effectiveness, nor does it talk about value for money. The correct answer here is efficiency. Question number 7. A hospital management team assess performance using value for money. So they're using like 3 E's basically. The following performance measures are reported by surgical departments. Which element of value for money is assessed by each measure? So number of patients who need to be readmitted following a surgery. Okay. So this does this talk about efficiency? No, it doesn't talk about how much output or how much we are using our resources. Does it talk about economy? Economy has to do with the cost of input. No, that doesn't. That's not what it's talking about. So basically, it's talking about what we call as effectiveness. The staff cost of each surgical procedure. This is definitely regarding the cost of input. So this is a statement regarding economy. All right. Question 8. So Core Care Trust is a public sector hospital, a public sector health and care home for elderly. Income is received on a contract basis from the local government authority. Care workers are mainly full-time staff, but occasionally temporary staff from a local employment agency may be brought in at great expense to fill staff rota gaps. Okay, so they are basically they have full-time staff mainly, but sometimes they bring in temporary staff. Okay, which is very expensive. There is a regulatory body monitoring the work done by care homes known as CHQC, which sets targets for the standards of care that's expected. So, CHQC, what they do is they set the standards that should be achieved by core care. It is generally regarded that residents spend a much happier time while in care home if they're able to establish long-lasting relationship with home care staff providing the direct care. The six performance measured below are used by the management of core care trust to monitor performance as part of the value for money framework. Okay. So match the following measures to the elements of the value for money framework which they are measuring. So direct staff cost as a percentage of contract income. So staff cost, how much staff cost we have in terms of direct staff means our full-time employees. Has to do with the cost of inputs. So that mainly has to deal with economy. All right. Temporary staff usage in terms of hours as a percentage of total staff hours. So this has nothing to do with cost. So this definitely is an economy. So this is talking about how much extra hours we sometimes need to put in by the part-time people. So this definitely doesn't talk about effectiveness, but this definitely talks about efficiency because if my present staff is efficient, I would need less hours from temporary staff. So the number of staff, uh, temporary staffs that we do hire basically is talking about our efficiency of our operations. Food cost per meal served to residents. This definitely is going to be regarding economy because this is to do with cost of input. Achieving the CHQC's designated standard care for the elderly. So CHQC, as we know, that they set the standards, and every caregiving hospital should try to achieve it. So this has to do with getting results. So this obviously has to do with effectiveness. Number of voids, that means the number of vacancies that we have um, within the organization. So this obviously number of beds is our resource, and how much we're using it or not using it has to do with the efficiency of our operations. Staff turnover. So this is a tricky one. Does staff turnover have to do anything to do with the cost of inputs? No, it doesn't. Does staff turnover have to do with efficiency? Uh, it doesn't really tell us about the amount of input, because efficiency is about how much input we given and how much we're getting out of from that input. So staff turnover has to do more with the effectiveness of our operations. If our operations are effective, less people would leave. So that generally should be effectiveness. Many organizations use non-financial performance indicators. Which of the following non-financial performance indicator is most suitable for monitoring quality? So we are focusing on quality. Throughput, volume per time period. Throughput, how much money we are making, that has nothing to do with quality. New customers per time period. How much new customers, maybe they're happy with the present quality. That's This could be one of the options, but let's look at more. Number of customer complaints. This is a better option because how much complaints we get hopefully gives us a better indication regarding our quality of service. Number of transactions per customer. Number of transactions does not really specifically monitor quality, so I'd go for option C, which is number of customer complaints. Number 10, which of the following is not a necessarily quality of a key performance indicator? So once again, this is part of the notes, that what features should be there when we are uh, doing a key performance indicator. It should definitely be measurable, it should definitely be relevant, and it should definitely be specific. So financially quantifiable is not really a key performance indicator for uh, quality. All right, or quality of key performance indicator. Next up, number 11. So this is obviously an OTQ. So Busco is a large operator operating long distance bus services across the country. There are three other national operators in the country. Last month, an independent survey of 40,000 passengers was carried out, the results of which are shown below the table. So we have four different bus operators: Bus, Prime, Express, Transit, and satisfaction by the percentage. So value for money percentages are given, punctuality percentages are given, journey time is given. Based on feedback that it had from a recent survey it has undertaken, one of its customers, of its own customers, Busco has calculated a rating for overall customer satisfaction based on a weighted average. It as such reflects the importance customer surveys place on each of the three criteria above. The weighted things were used as follows. So these were the customer satisfaction ratings. But which one is more important to a customer, which one is less important to a customer, has been mentioned as percentages over here. Okay. The managing director of Busco made a public statement saying the independent research has shown that our customers are the most satisfied of any national bus operator. Independent research confirms that we lead our competitors on what matters most to customers. We are ahead of them on value for money and punctuality. We are also striving to lower our environmental footprint. In order to improve our customer satisfaction, the MD has proposed that Busco should introduce a greater variety of tickets. Currently, all four operators offer standard daily single or return or weekly tickets on particular routes. The MD has proposed that Busco should introduce rover tickets allowing unlimited daily or weekly travel on all routes in certain areas, and off-peak fares, which would apply to certain routes outside the rush hours. He has also proposed the introduction of smart card tickets on the busiest routes, allowing customers to swipe their tickets on electronic readers as they enter and leave the bus. Okay, these are some recommendations by the manager, by the managing director of Busco. So using the customer satisfaction criteria calculated by Busco, rank the four bus operators with the operators with the highest customer satisfaction ranked first. Okay. So over here, there's two aspects to it. firstly we need to see what the importance levels were, right? So over here, this basically gives us an understanding of what is more important. So what we will do is we'll put value for money. So this basically has a rating from the customer. This is the weighted importance. Punctuality, the second one. The this one's weighted importance is 0.32, and the third one is journey time, and the weighted importance for this one is 0.28. Okay. So now let's do this one by one. So let's see how bus did. Okay. So for bus, they got an independent rating of 0.68. Okay. And value for money is basically 0. Has a weighted of 0.4. Plus, in terms of punctuality, it got an 80%. So let's just call it zero point 0.8. And punctuality has an importance of 0.32 into 0.32 plus uh, journey time. So journey time in terms of bus, it is a customer satisfaction rating of 82. Okay, into 0.28. So let's just put the values in there. So 0.68 into zero point 0.4 into zero point 0.4. So that's basically 0.272 plus zero point 0.8 into 0.32, 0.8 into 0.32. So that's about 0.256, 256 plus 82 into zero point 0.2. So that basically 20. Point 0.8, sorry, my bad. Once again, it's going to be 0.82 into 0.28. So that's about 0.23. So if you add them all up, so in terms of bus, it basically comes down to what? Let's just keep adding them up. So it's 272 plus 256 plus 230 divided by 1,000. It should be 0. This is 0.758. Right. So this is yeah, so in terms of importance and customer rating, this got a rating of 0.758. All right. So we'll do the same thing for Prime. So let's look at Prime. So for Prime, the figures are 0.4 into 0.58 plus 0.32 into 0.8 plus 0.28 in terms of importance into customer rating of 0.83. So what are the figures? Let's just put it down there. So this is zero point 0.4 into 0.58, which is 0.232 plus 0.32 into zero point 0.8, which is 0.256 plus 0.28 into 0.83, which once again is 0.2324. So let's add them all up. Plus 0.256 plus 0.232. So this gives me 0.720. 7204. So this is it for prime. The same thing we'll be doing for express as well. Use customer importance of 0.4 into customer rating of 0.67 plus 0.32 into a customer rating of 0.76 plus 0.28 into the customer rating of 0.85. So what are the values? Two six eight plus 0.32, 0.76, which is 0.2432 plus 0.28 into 0.85, which is 0.238. So let's add them all up. Point 2432 plus 0.268, 0.7492. This is 0.7492. Last one, transit. So let's look at transit. 0.62% are happy into what's in terms of importance it's 0.4 plus 78% is happy into what they consider to be important as 0.32 plus 86% is happy 0.86 into what they consider to be 28%. So the figures once again, six to into 0.4, which is 0.248. Next one, 0.78 into 0.32, is 2496 plus 0.86 into what they consider to be 28% important, which is 0. So let's add them up. This plus 0.2496 plus 0.248, which is 0.734. So if we actually look at it in terms of satisfaction, who has the highest? This is 0.75, 0.72, 0.75. So this guy should be number one. Then it should be this guy, which is second. Next is this in terms of customer being happy with overall service. And this is the last one. So, okay. So that is basically how we're going to go about it. So in terms of this, let's go back and refer to our note. Bus should rank number one. Good. Then Prime. Prime should rank number four. Good. Express. Express should be second. And Transit, it should be third. Okay. So customer satisfaction criteria and the ranking the four buses, this is how we went about doing it. To see the overall who was satisfied with what. Okay. Next up. So independent research has shown that Busco's operator, okay, mm, are the most satisfied of any national bus operators. Not really. There is nothing here which exactly says that. It just says that these three criteria and the importance that they put to it. So it doesn't really mean that they're the happiest. So this, in my opinion, is false. The independent research confirms that Busco leads its comparison on what matters most to customers. So according to the ranking, what matters most to customers was uh, value for money. And in terms of value for money, yes, Busco has the highest of all the four. Okay, because this indicates what is more or less important to customers, and these are the rankings based on that. So in terms of value for money, Busco leads. So this, in a way, does indicate that. Does it actually? One second, please. Uh, what matters most? No, no. I'm gonna go with false. Anyway, research on the Busco is ahead of its. Yes. Uh, so it is ahead of its. I messed with it. So in terms of value for money, definitely Vasco leads it. So this was the true statement, not this. And last one is independent research confirms that Vasco is ahead of its competitor on punctuality. Let's look at punctuality. Not really, because Prime is there as well. Yes, it doesn't lead the entire pack. So this is also a false statement. Okay. Once again, this I'm saying because over here it doesn't really mention what matters most on any of this. So we cannot really say this with 100% conviction. So I'm still going to go with false. The next question, the scenario is the same. So, match the following, matches the value for money criteria, economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. So occupancy of bus rate means how many bus seats are basically occupied by the people. So how much of my resources being actually used, that definitely should deal with efficiency. Bus drivers, how much bus drivers are being utilized, once again definitely to do with efficiency. A percentage of customers satisfied with the cleanliness of bus. This doesn't have to do with our economy, nor does it talk about the how much we're using our resources. So cleanliness of bus and satisfaction of customers, this has to do with the result. So when we're talking about result, this is basically talking about effectiveness. A percentage of carbon emissions relative to target set. So since the companies do have a target set, that is their objective, how much they've achieved their objective has to do with effectiveness. All right. Yeah. Next up, which of the following is least likely to improve punctuality for busco's routes? So punctuality means basically being the how quickly, how much the buses are on time. So no longer accepting cash on buses and only accepting prepaid tickets. Does that improve our punctuality? Yeah, because the less we use cash and we use tickets, the less time we need to, spend time checking the tickets and things like that, or receiving cash and giving change and things like that. So this should improve punctuality. Amending the timetable to allow for longer journey times on certain routes during busy periods. Yes, this should improve our punctuality because if there's more traffic on a certain route and we adjust that timing because we know that during that time that route is going to be busier. So this also does improve the punctuality. Introducing a greater range of tickets on some routes. Greater range of tickets. If we offer more types of tickets, how does that improve punctuality? Because more types of tickets means we have to deal with more money or more different types of customers and the varieties of tickets and things like that. So of these three that we have read, this is the least going to improve punctuality. Allowing customers to use smart card tickets on busiest routes. So smart card tickets on busiest route, that should also decrease the time of processing passengers. So of the four options that I see here, introducing a greater range of tickets on routes does not really help punctuality in any way, in my opinion. All right. Last one. Hmm. Which of the following building block dimensions by Fitzgerald and Moon is the introduction of off-peak fares least likely to address? So off-peak fares, basically, if we remember what was said here, that during off-peak hours means during the less busy times, they're going to bring down the price of tickets. If they're going to bring down the price of tickets, uh, that definitely affects competitiveness because we are becoming more competitive. So this is definitely not something that's least likely to address. It should be addressing this. In terms of quality, so if you think about quality, giving cheaper tickets during less busy hours does not really impact quality of our service. So of these two, obviously it does impact competitiveness. It does not impact quality to that extent, but let's look at further options. Resource utilizations, less fares during off-peak hours means more people maybe would be choosing our service. So we'll perhaps be filling up more of our bus seats. So it does deal with resource utilization. Uh, Flexibility. Flexibility in the sense like people with less income perhaps would be able to use our services, and because we're also being able to change the fares of tickets. So this does impact a little bit on flexibility. So we are basically left. These two are the least likely that it addresses, but I'm definitely sure that charging less money does not in any way impact quality. So this is going to be the least affected by it. So the answer should be quality. So this is, I think, another scenario. Jam Air. Okay. So Jam Air was founded in September 2021 and is one of growing number of airlines in the country of China. Jam Air strategy is to operate at low cost and high efficiency airline. So it's a basically airline, low cost and very high efficiency. That's their goal. The airline was given an on-time arrival ranking of seventh best by Chinese Aviation Authority, who rank all 50 of the country's airline based on the number of flights which arrive on time. So in terms of on-time arrival, it's 7 out of 50. 48 Jammer flights were cancelled compared to 35 in 20x6. So more flights have been cancelled in 20x7. This increase was due to an increase in the staff absentee rate. So a major reason for this was because a lot of people were absent. A lot of workers were absent, with an average of 3 days per staff members per year to up to 4 months. So 50% increase in absenteeism. Ground turnaround time for airlines is 50 minutes, meaning that on average, planes on the ground for cleaning, refueling, etc. For 50 minutes before departing again. That means before a flight, you know, lands and takes off, it takes about 50 minutes to prepare a flight after landing to prepare it for takeoff again. Okay. Now, Jammeher has increased the number of cleaners and also the number of spot checks of cleaners work. Okay, that's nice. I guess. The number of passengers carried by the airline has grown from 300,000 passengers to a total of 3482 in 2001 to 920,000 passengers in 2027. Media reports suggest that other aircraft companies may be interested in bidding for Jam Air. Okay, so this was about this Jam Air company. So now let's just look at what the question asks for. Which to the following strategies are likely to aid Jam Airco's objective of operating as a low cost, high efficiency? So, of the four strategies, so we have to be very careful when we go through these questions. What are they asking for? They're asking for two strategies that would help to keep the cost low and improve the efficiency. So, let's look at this. Operating mostly in capital cities to reduce landing cost. In capital cities, usually the landing costs are high, not low. So, I don't know if this is going to be very highly effective to keep the low cost low and increase efficiency. Using only one type of aircraft. Now, this is very interesting. If you use only one type of aircraft, then we just need to keep the maintain people who will maintain these aircrafts. We just need one set of people because there's not going to be multiple different types of aircraft. So my people won't need multiple skills. So if you use one type of aircraft, we need less equipment and we need to train our people less, and they're going to be very more efficient that way. So this is definitely something that I would think would improve the efficiency and also keep the cost low. Having premium, business, and economy seat classes, no, because if you're going to offer all these different seats of classes, we need to provide them with different services, and that's going to bring the cost up and maintenance cost up as well. So this definitely is not going to help. Focusing on e-commerce with customer booking and checking in for flights online. So of course, e-commerce, if people can book online and they can check the timings and things like that, we don't need to hire people to do it. And booking and doing these things online is of course going to be more efficient because they're quicker. So I'm going to go for option B and option D. Next one. Match the following objectives of Jammer to the perspective of the balance scorecard to which they relate. Okay. Ensuring that flights are on time. Okay, if flights are on time, which part of the balance scorecard does this actually impact? Internal service. Does it impact our financials, or does it impact our customer perspective? So if the flights are on time flights, customers are happier with on time flights. So I'm going to definitely go for from the customer perspective. uh, Ensuring that they're on time basically impact the customers. Using fewer planes to transport the customers. So if you're using fewer planes, that definitely should be improving our Just a moment. It should be definitely improving our internal service. No, it doesn't improve our internal service, does it? Financial. I think this improves our financials because uh, fewer planes, more customers traveling, cost per customer is less. What I mean to say by that is, if previously if we had one plane which had 100 seats and only 50 seats were being covered, but now we have 100 seats and all the seats are covered, that basically brings down my cost per customer. So I think this would definitely go for my financial. Improving turnaround times means less time for me to clean up and prepare the flight for takeoff. This definitely does not help my financials, doesn't help my customer perspective. This definitely has to do with my internal process, my efficiency of doing work. And improving cleanliness of planes by spot checks. So plane cleanliness, this could impact my internal process, but I'm still going to go for customer because the customer perspective, they're the ones who focus more on cleanliness of planes, and they're happier if the planes are cleaner. All right, next one. Match the following performance measure used by JAM Air Code to the perspective of the balance. Again, some balance scorecard, some more information. So, absentee rate of employees. So, how much my employees are absent? This basically has to do with, I guess, my internal process, right? Or is it going to be learning? So I'm a bit confused between internal process. So I'm going to come back later and think about this. So least cost per customer. So it has to do with cost and things like that. So this is definitely financial. Revenue per passenger mile. Once again, definitely how much revenue. This will impact my financial statement. Number of flights cancelled. When do flights get cancelled? When I'm unable to basically perhaps get people to fly on my flights. So this has to do with the customer's perspective. Because if customers not happy, then they're gonna of course impact my that. Okay. Now, where were we stuck? I think absentee rates. This one is really to be a very tricky one. Yeah. I'm gonna go for innovation and learning because if my employees kept learning, then perhaps they wouldn't be absent. It's a very tricky one. I'm gonna go with learning. So I think we're in the last question. Which four of the following are disadvantage of using balanced scorecard? Okay. It steers Jammer away from solely focusing on financial measures. It's not an disadvantage. It's actually an advantage that companies actually focusing on more measures than only financials. It cannot resolve conflicts between short-term and long-term objectives. Yeah, of course. This definitely, if there are goals which are in the short term and in the long term, and the balance scorecard doesn't help you resolve the conflicts regarding that. An improvement in one perspective of the balance scorecard can be made without affecting the other three perspectives. No, we already know that. We learned that in class that improvement in one of them will definitely have an improvement on the other, right? So it does every section of the balance scorecard impacts other aspects of the balance scorecard. So this definitely is not some a problem. It can be difficult to gain an overall impression of the results provided. I would say this is a problem because I'm doing well financially. I'm not doing that well in learning. I'm doing well in terms of customers. So, uh, what is the overall impression? It is a bit tricky. Yeah, I'll definitely go for this. No direct link between overall results of the scorecard and the creation of shareholder value. This one is definitely true. Uh, it is a very big disadvantage. The balance score will limited effectiveness if JMA strategy is unclear. So yeah, this one is once again, I think. a disadvantage because when we are setting the goals to measure, I think those goals are based on the strategies ticker, right? So unless there's a clear strategy that this is what we want to achieve, uh, it is very difficult to set goals. And if it's difficult to set goals, then it's very difficult to get a balanced scorecard to be effective. Correct. So I'm gonna go with that. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna submit and have my fingers crossed. So yeah, I think we got one incorrect. So let's just go back and check which one we did get incorrect. Uh, right. So one incorrect. Which one was that? Ah, Jammer. Improving cleanliness of planes by spot checks. Oh, of course. Like this, they have specifically mentioned spot checks. So my bad. I was a bit careless with this one. If it only had to do with improving cleanliness of planes, perhaps a customer perspective was better. But because it's by improving cleanliness of planes by spot checks are going to be done by the people within the organization, and how effectively they're basically doing it has more to do with our own efficiency or internal process than customer. So that is something that I did get wrong. So apart from that, everything else seems to be in order. So that's basically is it. So guys, I hope uh, this gives you some clarification. So take care and stay safe.